There's always good advice about things to and not to do on a cruise, and today I've got the things I don't recommend doing on a cruise up next. Hey everyone, it's Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. When you go on a Royal Caribbean cruise, there are a lot of different ways to vacation. There isn't a right or wrong way. Everyone's got their own style. As an example, I personally don't care for jugglers or magicians, but that's not part of my list because I know there are some people out there that actually do enjoy that form of entertainment. But today, I'm really talking about the things that I really don't think anybody should do on a cruise. And these are the sort of things that are either big, small, or simply could have an impact on your cruise that I think is negative or could really ruin your cruise vacation. Let's start with number one, and that is skipping any part of the check-in process. Royal Caribbean has taken the check-in process from an arduous task to a really simple one. Many years ago it was a problem, but these days it's super easy with Royal Caribbean's app, and I really think you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't fill out the entire check-in process. In the Royal Caribbean app, once you get within about a month or so of your cruise, you can start checking in for it. And you can enter your basic information, things like your passport information, taking a selfie photo, your credit card, and other important data. Number one, it's super easy to do. But number two, and the reason why I'm telling you not to avoid doing this, is because it makes the embarkation process so much faster and smoother at the cruise terminal. When you're at home and not on vacation, why not take the time to do all this stuff? That way, you can breeze through the check-in process and it makes it that much easier. Number two thing I don't recommend doing on a cruise is my time dining. Now, hold on a second. Hold on. Before you write the comments, this is really meant for new cruisers because there's two choices for the main dining room: my time dining or traditional dining. My time is when you have a more flexible dining schedule, where there is not a pre-assigned time or a pre-assigned table or pre-assigned waiters, and you need to sign up for a specific time every day you're sailing. On paper, that seems like a great idea. In practice, I think it's more of a problem, especially for new cruisers who are going to encounter longer lines and more likely situations in which they struggle to find a convenient time to eat because reservations go quickly. If you're a new cruiser, I don't recommend that you do my time dining and instead do traditional dining instead. That way you have the same dining time, same waitstaff, same table. It's so much simpler and easier. The third thing I don't recommend doing on a cruise is booking the cheapest cabin because it's the cheapest cabin. I'm all for saving money, but I would hate to put you in a situation that you're going to regret for the entire duration of your cruise. More often than not, the cheapest cabin is the cheapest cabin for a very good reason, and it's not because it's necessarily the smallest room out there. In a lot of cases, Royal Caribbean prices its cabins based on a variety of factors. Yes, cabin size is one of them, but there are other factors like being in an undesirable location. And people that book the cheapest cabin often end up with a cabin that has noise bleed. Maybe it's noise from like the ship's mechanical systems. It could be noise from public venues or even other crew members or guests. In addition, it could also be really cheap because it's all the way forward or all the way back or in a place where you can experience much more motion. And a lot of first-time cruisers run into motion sickness, aka seasickness, and it's something you don't want to endure. Our staff has run into this many times in which I'm telling them, book the cheapest cabin out there, and they end up with a cabin that induces seasickness. So while it's okay to book the cheapest cabin in some cases, you really should be cognizant of these issues, and it's why I don't recommend necessarily booking the exact cheapest cabin. Maybe pick a specific cabin that costs you a little bit more, but you can be assured of avoiding some of those issues I highlighted. The next thing I don't recommend doing is flying in the same day your cruise begins. I really beat the drum on this one because it happens all the time and I see it, especially among first-time cruisers. You do not want to fly in the same day your cruise begins because if there's a delay or cancellation with your flight and you miss your cruise, that's it. You lost your cruise and you lost your vacation. Royal Caribbean will not wait for you because your flight has been delayed or canceled or what have you. You got to make it on there. The ship will leave without you if you are not there. And in my opinion, it's just not worth the risk or even the savings you could potentially have by not getting a hotel room the night before. Fly in at least 1 day ahead of time if you're flying internationally, 2 days ahead of time, start your vacation a little bit earlier, and avoid the frustrations and concern of missing your cruise altogether. Something I don't recommend doing on a cruise is booking the key, and this one's a little more controversial because my viewers know I've had this take on the key for a while, and they go back and forth with me on it. The reason why I don't like the key is, first of all, the pricing has gone a little crazy over the last couple of months. But regardless of that fact, the problem I have with the key is the benefits sound better on paper than they truly are. A lot of the benefits are front-loaded for the first day of the sailing, and the rest of the sailing is pretty much, I won't say useless, but far less useful with the key. And moreover, the benefits aren't as great as they sound. As an example, the best reason people usually book the Cay is for the early check-in time because members of the Cay can get on the ship a little bit earlier. Let me tell you something. If you do your due diligence and follow our videos and advice here and do your online check-in exactly when the check-in window opens to get one of the earliest check-in times, you will be behind the Cay people by mere minutes, like 5 at the most. It really is not that much of a difference. There are other nice benefits of the Cay, like an embarkation day lunch. I would argue that you could purchase an embarkation day lunch at Shop's Grill on your own without the Cay, still have a great time, and probably save some money along the way. Yes, the Cay does include internet access, of which, of course, you can purchase your own internet access. And I just feel like a lot of the benefits just aren't as great as they sound. We've done videos about the Cay. I'll post a video in the description below to further detail exactly why I don't like the Cay. Next up is I don't recommend sharing a cabin with your kids. As somebody who's cruised with my kids since they were 6 months old each, it's been an adventure to say the least cruising with my kids. But as soon as I discovered the option to have a different room for my kids, it has been an eye-opener. Now you're probably thinking, well, that must be nice, Matt, but I can't afford 2 cabins. Well, you might actually be able to. In a lot of cases, I have found that it is just about the same price, if not cheaper, to book 2 smaller cabins, one for my kids, one for the adults, than it is to put everybody into the same cabin, especially if you're considering maybe a balcony or even a suite. Now, there are some nice benefits of having everybody in the same room. It seems like, wouldn't that be a great picture? But the problem is, it's not a lot of space for a lot of people, especially if you have more than one kid, and especially if any of your kids are at least a teenager or so. By having just one cabin, you probably only have one bathroom. And when you start sharing one bathroom with 3 or 4 people, I don't care how old they are, it gets contentious. Beyond that, kids have different schedules. When my kids were really young, they would need to go to bed a lot earlier than us. And when we shared a cabin, we had to play the don't make any noise game. Keep the room completely dark so they could sleep, not make any noise. It wasn't fun. Instead, what I recommend doing is getting connecting cabins. That way you have a connecting door in between, and that way the kids have, first of all, their own bathroom. Second of all, they also have the ability to close that connecting door and be able to sleep on their own while the parents can enjoy, of course, the lights being on or having a light conversation, watching TV, what have you. Something else I don't recommend doing is sleeping in if you want a pool day. For a lot of people on a cruise, hanging out by the pool is a big attraction of the experience. But if you want to go to the pool, you really do need to wake up at least a little bit early. I'm not saying that you need to wake up at 6 a.m., but your plan should be to get out to the pool certainly by 10 a.m. at the very latest. The reason being, chair hogs. Unfortunately, chair hogs exist on Royal Caribbean cruise ships just as much as they do on land hotels. And for that reason, you really do want to get up to the pool earlier than certainly 10 a.m. I'd recommend by 9 a.m. or so. That way you can assure yourself of getting a chair near the pool and being able to take advantage of also lower crowds, because most of the people that show up at the pool will come a little bit later in the morning. So not only can you get a chair by arriving early, but you can also enjoy the pool a little bit more to yourself. Another major faux pas, something I don't recommend doing, is leaving your cell phone antenna on during your cruise. If you leave your cell phone on, depending on your plan, you might incur some hefty roaming charges. There are often stories of people who incur thousands of dollars in roaming charges because they left their phone on. That is to say you can't use your phone. What I'm talking about is not putting your phone into airplane mode. So simply put, when you get on your Royal Caribbean cruise ship and you're on board the ship and you connect to the Wi-Fi, put your phone into airplane mode and you'll be assured that you won't incur any roaming charges. And don't turn that back on until, of course, you get back home. Something else I don't recommend doing is saving all your activities for the sea days. If you're hoping to try the flow ride or surf simulator, ride your ship's thrilling water slides, or test your strength on the rock climbing wall, you don't want to save everything for a sea day. Sea days on a cruise are indeed an excellent time to take advantage of all the fun things to do on a ship, from roller skating to indoor skydiving and bumper cars. With nowhere else to be, many passengers use a sea day in order to try these exciting activities. So as a result, they can get very busy on sea days. It is not uncommon to see long lines around the ship as hundreds of other people are trying to do something as well. Instead of saving all the activities for sea days, knock some of them off the list on a port day instead. When most passengers go ashore, there's far less demand for onboard activities, leading to fewer lines or even no lines at all. Even if you have plans to go ashore, you can still try these activities before or after exploring port. In fact, one of my favorite tips is to ride your ship's water slides after a beach day in port. You're already in your bathing suit, and it's possible to ride the slides several times in a row with little to no wait. And the last thing I don't recommend doing on your Royal Caribbean cruise is not purchasing travel insurance. I'm always shocked to see people who travel without travel insurance because it's one of the most common mistakes I see people making while planning a trip. Travel insurance covers a wide range of scenarios, from trip cancellation to medical coverage and even travel delay reimbursement. Most plans also include medical coverage in your cruise ship's onboard medical center, and this is typically not covered under your regular health insurance plan. On a recent cruise, a passenger had to be airlifted to a hospital on land, and such an emergency situation can easily cost tens of thousands of dollars out of pocket. If you don't have travel insurance, you absolutely do not want to find yourself in this type of situation. Additionally, while on a cruise, you may be participating in a wider range of activities compared to what you do at home. You might book activities like a hiking excursion in the jungle or horseback riding on the beach. Although these activities are certainly safe, there's always a chance of an injury while you're out doing something that's not part of the ordinary. And you'll want to have travel insurance should you need to visit a doctor's office or hospital while in port or back on the ship. So there you have it, a couple things that I think I don't recommend doing on a cruise. Obviously, there's a wide breadth of do's and don'ts when it comes to a Royal Caribbean cruise, but these are the sort of things that I often get asked about and the things I don't recommend doing on a cruise. Let me know in the comments below. Is there anything on this list that you don't agree with, or are there things that should be added to this list? Let me know in the comments below. While you're down below our video, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and please turn on notifications. That way YouTube lets you know when we have a brand new video to share. This has been Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. We'll talk again real soon.